2 volunteers from this chapter left this morning. 5 from the chapter are already there helping with tornado relief efforts.
We'll be driving to Kentucky. We're leaving actually very shortly.
Heidi Dampman in this emergency response vehicle, which will help feeding families.
So you'd have someone over here serving food.
And Fred Lehman in this new Red Cross van left headquarters in Center City this morning. Volunteers from the Southeastern PA chapter headed to Kentucky, joining volunteers from around the country.
The pictures are horrible. They look horrible. I can imagine what these folks are going through. We're taking 2 vehicles down to do feeding. When I get down there, I'm going to actually transition over to disaster distribution, supplies, that sort of thing.
Dampman and Lehman are headed to Mayfield, Kentucky, where the deadly tornado outbreak earlier this month obliterated homes and leveled neighborhoods. The Red Cross is working on the ground to ensure people have food, shelter, supplies, and emotional support.
Tonight, you'll hear firsthand from a King of Prussia man who was in Kentucky volunteering with the Red Cross.
We spawn about 15 times a year.
Larry Daly is that man. And the first question I had for the retiree is, what makes you volunteer to go to these places where people are at their lowest?
It's just something that's in me. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's craziness, but it's just something that's in me. I retired from Abington School District 3 years ago. I came back with the Red Cross. I've been on the go ever since.
Spent the day installing smoke alarms in West Philadelphia. A team of volunteers put the life-saving devices in carts and pulled them from house to house. The smoke alarm installations were free of charge and took place in the area of Cedar Avenue between 61st and 63rd Streets. The Red Cross also provided fire safety information.
Please have an escape plan. Talk to your family, have an escape plan, make sure you have it. You have, studies show you have 2 minutes to, evacuate your house. So it's important to those 2 minutes. Check your smoke alarms. Right now we're installing 10-year lithium smoke alarms. So we still ask people to check them monthly, but it's very important to have a plan and to have smoke alarms.
The fire department and other agencies helped make the free smoke alarms possible.
At least 2 people were carried away on stretchers, including a pregnant woman, although no further information has been released about her condition. Fire officials say 2 homes were damaged by the flames. At least 10 people, including neighbors who live adjacent to the scene, were evacuated and later assisted by the Red Cross.
As we first told you earlier this week, the Red Cross is reporting its worst blood shortage in more than a decade. In fact, they're calling it a blood crisis.
This is a little alarming.
Jennifer Graham is talking about a national blood supply crisis. She's the executive director of the Red Cross Delaware Valley chapter.
It truly is the worst shortage we have seen in well over a decade nationwide.
She says it's so dire, they currently have only a 1-day supply of most blood types, when they should have a 5-day supply on the shelves at all times. The pandemic has really dealt the Red Cross a big blow.
We've had ongoing blood drive cancellations. We've had some staffing limitations, which have really compounded the fact that we also just don't have enough donors coming out to give.
And in the midst of the biggest surge in cases since COVID began.
We are working with hospitals around the clock.
Appointments may be filling up quickly, but that's because less time slots are available. The pandemic is hitting them hard, just like other industries. They too are experiencing staffing shortages.
The pandemic has caused some of our staff to get, COVID as well, and they have to, be out of work for an extended period of time. And because of that, at times we can make less appointments be available because we have less staff to process the donors.
A negative trifecta with a decline in blood donations, staffing shortages, and people sick with COVID. It's those 3 things, he says, that have resulted in the nationwide blood shortage.
By the way, if you've had COVID, is your blood still okay?
Yes, it's not a blood virus. So if you've had COVID, you've recovered from COVID, you're feeling well, we encourage you to sign up to donate blood.
And other questions. I know these are kind of silly, some of them. Somebody wanted to know, vaccine, if you're unvaccinated or you're vaccinated, does that make a difference either with blood?
It sure doesn't. Whether you're vaccinated or unvaccinated, you are eligible to donate blood. And if you've had one of the 3 major vaccines, you can actually donate the next day.
Okay, so let's try to organize some blood drives then.